I think now might be the best time in a long time to get in the sports card hobby. I'm going to explain why. Stick around. Hello to all my sports card collectors, investors, all of my collectibles friends. How we doing? It is another day. It is another card video, collectibles video. If you're new here, you're looking for pretty much daily sports card, non-sports card, collectible style content with a little bit of a finance twist. We also throw in newsy type stuff here and there. You have come to the right place. And let me tell you, your family is tired of hearing you talk to them about cards. They don't care.
Your kid. Judge.
That's why we're here. We are here for you, my friends. Also connect with me on IG at SportsCardDad. It's where I share a lot of my pickups, do some fun reels, etc. It's a good time. Check us out there on IG. And then also Twitter, the SportsCardDad. Big shout out to this video's sponsor, Drip Marketplace. Drip is a live buying and selling platform selling all sorts of different collectibles. That's what I really love about Drip. So much variety, whether we're talking about sports cards, Pokemon, MetaZoo, comics, video games, it's all there. And if you use my link, you get $15 off your first purchase. You can't beat it, $15 off your first purchase. So definitely drop everything. Check out Drip. You won't regret it. I will have my link in the video description as well as pinned in the comments so you can check it out ASAP. All right, we all know there's just a lot of wacky economic stuff going on. We've talked about it on the channel. We talk about it all the time, every week. We're kind of going through it. And look, things ever since the summer kind of hit us and, the Fed started raising rates. We've got inflation that's out of control. The economy has shifted. And actually, not even since the summer. We're really talking about all of 2022. I mean, look, it is no secret that stocks, crypto, sports cards, collectibles, most things, unless you own a 52 Topps PSA 10 or SGC 95 Mickey Mantle, that's gone up and that's about it. Just kidding. Not everything has gone down, but you understand my point. There are, a lot of just sagging asset markets right now, and sports cards, non-sports cards, they are in that bucket. But you know what that means for a lot of folks is opportunity. I mean, if you had gotten in a few years ago, yeah, it's great that you got in, but we had a massive spike and then we had a massive drop. If you are getting in now, you can kind of learn from that and see like, okay, well, I missed that kind of volatile time, and you can take a look, take some lessons from that, and also just figure out, really dive into what are you focused into. Because as much as we talk about people getting out of the hobby, there are a lot of people that are still getting into it. They're starting to age into it, and they're saying like, hey man, I used to collect cards. I used to collect comics when I was a kid. I'm getting back into this, and they're searching for it. They're looking for different content around this sort of thing and to learn more about it. So there are a lot of people coming back that missed all of the craziness over the last couple years. And again, maybe that's a good thing because for pricing, it has come down quite a bit on singles. And then, the Walmarts and Targets, there actually is retail products sitting on the shelves. A couple years ago, that was not the case. As we kind of rolled through the pandemic, there was the big race to get boxes, people camping out, and going to multiple stores and working those angles. And that was kind of all part of the hustle. Same thing happened with sneakers, same sort of deal. And so now we are in a place where everything is kind of resetting, to where you can go to the store and get products. You can go to your card shop and get a decent deal on singles. You can go online. There's a plethora of different options as far as selling platforms. And there are strong options in third-party grading and authentication. There's actually new companies that are doing some nice things and trying to grab onto some market share. But then you also have 4 major companies that really have all positioned themselves to be in the game. And that's PSA, SGC, BGS, and CSG or CGC on the TCG side. It's just too much. I can't do this. But the grading companies, they're all caught up on backlog. They have lowered prices down. And so now really grading is affordable. And that's the first time that it's been affordable over the last 18 months. Really, this is the first time that really all 4 companies are positioned to make some moves in the grading space. And whether you like grading or don't like grading, third-party grading is really a big part of the hobby. Whether people are doing it for protection of their cards, for authentication, or to raise the value of their cards, whatever the motivation is, it is still a big benefit compared to what we had going back 30 years. When I started out in cards in 1988, 87, 88, they didn't have any sort of third-party grading, and it was literally just kind of, the wild, wild west. People think it's the wild, wild west now. Going back then, it was just kind of arguments back and forth as to what's fair, what's good as far as like the quality. Near mint, what's gem mint? I don't even know. Was there gem mint back in 1989, or was it just mint? I can't remember if that was actually even a phrase or a term. But anyway, it was just very, very new. All of the stuff added. There's price guides that were coming out. Beckett came out with their price guides, tough stuff. On the comic book side, Wizard and some of these other companies. So the price guides started to kind of build out in the mid to late 80s and then into the 90s. And that's really kind of carried us forward. Third-party grading was not a thing in the 90s, and really even the early 2000s kind of getting going. It took a long time for that to take hold, for it to actually become a thing that the mainstream collector base was going to start using. But third-party grading, it is important. It has a place. Do they make mistakes? Yeah, absolutely. Of course they do. But it is a necessary part of the hobby. Selling sites, you have a lot of different options on the selling site side, which is good, I think, if you are a buyer. It is kind of more of a buyer's market right now. Over the last couple of years, it's been more of a seller's market.
You're speaking with me, Mr. Sullivan.
Well, sir, if those assets decrease by just 25% and remain on our books, that loss would be greater than the current market capitalization of this entire company.
We're now moving into a space where whether you are collecting one particular player, whether you're collecting ultra modern, or if it's vintage, whatever it is, there are opportunities and ways to kind of get in on this. Also, on the content side, a variety of content is out there. 3 years ago, when I started making content in March of 2020 is when I started making my first content, far fewer channels. I mean, we're talking like 10% of the channels that there are now, probably back in March 2020, just not very many. And then a lot of them kind of sprung up during that time. Everybody's at home. Everybody's getting back into the hobby or getting more into it. I got back to the hobby 2018. So I was kind of doing my thing for a couple of years. And then I've been telling myself, you know what? I'm going to start a channel. Never did it. And then March 2020, I was like, screw it. We're doing it. We're going. And so here we are. But so if you're someone getting in, trying to figure out how do I get into this? What's what with different sets and all that? There is so much different content. Take it all in, take as much in as you can, and then pick and choose what you like, what you don't like. And so new collectors / speculators / investors, they really do have a lot more resources, different content options out there than they did going back, even just to 2020, which it's not that long ago, but it's grown out quite a bit and continues to grow on. So this is not to say that now is the perfect time to get into the hobby because prices are perfect and we've hit some sort of a bottom. That's not really what I'm saying. Honestly, I would not be surprised to see prices on certain cards, specific cards, go down further over the next 6 months, 12 months, etc. We can't see the future, but I think that now is kind of a nice time if you were getting back into it. You can kind of look back, you can kind of look around you, and see what's going on. And I just think it's a great time. So if you've been thinking about getting in, feel free to send me questions. My email is in the video description, as well as my IG. IG is probably the easiest way to connect with me, honestly, just to kind of like quickly get answers if you do have any questions, or I can at least point you in the right direction. I'm also friends with a lot of different content creators that specialize in certain cards. Vintage baseball cards, not my thing, but I have a lot of resources for vintage baseball cards. So just one example. All right, guys, don't forget to check out Drip Marketplace. Again, I'll put it in the video description, my link, and also I'll pin it in the comments. Check it out. Stay healthy, stay awesome, and I will talk to you again later.